Hola amores, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another VBX Familia Speaks video where you guys choose the topic of my video. And for today, I will be speaking on Latinos or Latin Americans living in Spain and just a little bit on their immigration patterns and their experiences while living in Spain. Latin American migration to the continent of Europe dates back to the early 19th century. Latinos in Europe are now a rapidly growing group consisting of immigrants from all Latin American countries. A large majority of these are residents in Spain or have been naturalized as Spanish citizens. In the case of Brazilians, many are now residents of Portugal or naturalized Portuguese citizens. The main reason of their immigration to Europe are the common language and cultural proximity to Spain and Portugal. Spain is now the second destination of choice after the United States for Latin American migrants, and the vast majority of Latin Americans in Europe are residents or nationals of this country. In 2018, 2.5 million Spanish people born in South, Central America, or the Caribbean had been legally residing in Spain for at least 12 months, and a majority hold Spanish citizenship. Following the law of historic memory, Latin Americans with their Spanish parents or grandparents and their descendants have automatic right to Spanish citizenship, even without residing in the country. This potentially applies to millions of Latin Americans. In addition, all Latin Americans from Spanish-speaking countries qualify for Spanish citizenship after 2 years residence, regardless of recent ancestry. Unlike other countries in the European Union, Spain has not recorded a very high amount of anti-immigration rhetoric to date. According to some analysts, there are multiple causes behind this. In addition to the lack of strong right-wing political parties, the legacy of Francoist Spain left an ingrained skepticism towards right-wing authoritarianism. Drawing from the experience of many Spaniards during the 1960s and then again in the beginning of the 21st century when the crisis struck the country, there may be also a collective understanding that hardships force people to seek work abroad. However, a January 2004 survey by Spanish newspaper El País showed that the majority of Spaniards believe immigration was too high. Small parties, such as Movimiento Social Español, openly campaign using nationalist or anti-immigrant rhetoric, as do other small far-right parties. Latin American migration to Europe is the result of continuing economic challenges in Latin American countries and changes in the economies of Southern Europe, as well as the favorable visa and dual citizenship policies. Stricter U.S. visa requirements and U.S. border control since September 11th have also helped redirect migrant flow into Spain. Colombians make up the largest Latin American community in Spain, and following Colombia, some of the Latin American countries with the highest amounts of residents in Spain from greatest to least include Ecuador, Venezuela, Argentina, Peru, Bolivia, and the Dominican Republic. When it comes to how Latin American immigrants are treated and how they are viewed, this perception, of course, varies. Day-to-day interactions shape individual Spaniards' perceptions of Latin Americans, but the media plays its role as well. There are clear trends in the forms of representation of Latin American immigrants. As non-European immigrants, they are perceived generally either as a problem or as a threat. News coverage sets symbolic boundaries geographically, tends to specify their nationality when reporting social conflict, and ignores the positive aspects of their presence in the country. Views will even change based on the nationality of the immigrants. For example, there is evidence of a compassionate view towards Ecuadorians, whereas there is one of fear towards Colombians. Polarizing strategies depicting others and us are applied to the coverage of immigrants.
Morena has lived in Spain for 23 years. She's now a Spanish citizen. She says she's never felt racism here until recently. Perhaps because of the ongoing economic crisis, maybe because of a European-wide trend towards nationalism, xenophobia. She's unsure.
¿Tú te sientes representada en algún sitio?
Espero que mi hija, ahora que quiere ser abogada, llegue algún día.
Counting on your daughter to become a lawyer to defend you. That says a lot about how unprotected some Latinos in Spain feel. There are more than 2 million of them, Spain's second largest minority. Yet you can count on your fingers the number of Latinos elected to public office. Dominican Marta Trujillo is running for parliament in Santo Domingo to represent the roughly 20,000 Dominicans here.
¿Qué podrías hacer como una sola diputada tan lejos de casa para tu gente aquí en España?
Exactamente, fíjate, yo haría un despacho donde yo recibir las personas, porque es muy importante el trato, ¿no? El calor humano. Entonces, trabajaría también desde mi sueldo. Voy a dejar una parte para hacer un fondo social para los dominicanos aquí.
Or, she says, helping reduce the costs of passport renewals at the Dominican consulate. For Trujillo, campaigning means glad handing around Barcelona where Dominicans hang out.
Hay mucho desencanto en la población también, ¿sabes? Hay mucha gente que dice, ¿para qué voy a votar si van a ganar lo mismo? Han hecho tan mal las cosas que lo que han hecho es desencantar el pueblo.
Or even to unite as a community, says this bar owner named Wilson.
Se está luchando más o menos de que la juventud tenga un cambio, porque en estos últimos 5 o 6 años, o quizá menos, han estado pasando muchos sucesos, mucha delincuencia, y estamos tratando de que se evite eso.
¿Por qué no formáis un nuevo partido solo de latinos?
Exactamente, en eso precisamente estamos, porque debemos hacer un partido de inmigrantes.
Aunque ganando 12 escaños,
Exactamente.
es más que tenéis ahora.
Exactamente, porque es de la única manera que nosotros podemos luchar contra el racismo institucional.
In the year 2000, there was an intense political debate on immigration regulation. The emergence of Ecuadorians in the discourse on non-European immigration in Spain came about due to a shocking road incident in which 12 Ecuadorian workers on their way to harvest broccoli in Lorca, Murcia, died on January 3, 2001. The magnitude of the event and its coverage in the mass media fostered the opening of a social debate comparable only to 2 previous incidents: the murder of Dominican immigrants Lucrecia Perez in Madrid, which was considered the first hate crime in Spain, and the events in El Ejido, which were considered the first racist confrontation in the country. Lucrecia Perez had migrated to Spain in 1992 from the Dominican Republic, hoping to become a housekeeper. Her employment, however, did not last very long, and she eventually found herself homeless. She joined a community of Dominicans who inhabited an abandoned nightclub on the edge of Madrid. But not long after she moved in, a rogue Spanish civil guard led a gang of neo-Nazis into their compound. The officers started shooting randomly, injuring 2 of the immigrants, but Lucrecia was the only one that was killed. Miguel Ramos, a Spanish journalist who studies hate crimes, said, quote-unquote, just for this, because she was poor, she was black, and she was an immigrant. Lucrecia's murder didn't stop racism, but it surely educated the nation of its existence. Lucrecia's death inspired many Spaniards to organize against racism, an influence that can still be felt. It brought protests to the streets of Madrid and Barcelona. Groups such as Sos Racismo Madrid were created in response to her murder, and many are still helping immigrants in Spain today. Fast forward to today, a report conducted in 2017 by the Jose Ortega and Gasset Foundation found that nearly 80% of the children of immigrants in Spain felt right at home. One Spanish native says, quote-unquote, I think that in general, they, meaning the Latino immigrants, are well treated. In fact, ask any Spaniard and he will have a relative or a friend married to a Latino or Latina. I have 2 in my own family and 1 married to a friend. Needless to say, there are prejudiced people everywhere, and we still have room to improve.
La siguiente pregunta es de Kathleen y dice, me gustaría saber si has experimentado u observado algún acto de discriminación siendo inmigrante o no española.
Personalmente, yo no he sufrido ningún acto de discriminación aquí en Madrid. Específicamente, la gente es muy abierta. Nunca por nunca te van a decir, porque eres de tal parte, no voy a ser tu amigo, o unas cosas así.
That concludes this here video, guys. I hope that you all enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Bye.